Hey guys, 22 Plinkster here. In front of me is the new Ruger Precision Rimfire Magnum. Now, last year about this time, January of 2018, I did a review on the Ruger Precision Rimfire. That one's in 22 long rifle. This particular one in front of me is in the 17 HMR, and they also introduced the 22 Magnum, also known as the 22 WMR. Compared to that of the 22 long rifle version in the Ruger Precision, really nothing too much has changed. You still have the micro adjustments for your length of pull on your stock. You do have your cheek riser that you can also adjust in case if you're using a scope that sits a little high, you can still get a good cheek weld. It still has the same pistol AR style grip. The safety is just like that on an AR on the left-hand side. If you press up for safe, down for fire, it comes with the Magpull M-LOK forearm here, so you can attach your bipod, a laser flashlight, whatever you want to on this M-LOK rail system. And it has an 18-inch barrel, and it is threaded 1/2x28 for a suppressor. On top of the Rimfire Precision Magnum here in 17 HMR, I do have a Bushnell Engage. This is their 6x24 variable model side focus. This is a really good scope for the price point, but I'm not going to go over too many of the details in this rifle. If you want to watch all the details on the Ruger Precision rifle, go over and check out my 22 long rifle version. But I have some targets set up at 50 yards and also 100 yards. And what the 17 HMR is known for is really good accuracy at long ranges, such as 100 to 150 and sometimes 200 yards on a calm day. That is the key phrase, is on a calm day, because the 17 HMR, though it's very accurate at 100 and 150 yards, sometimes a 5 to 8 mile an hour crosswind can throw that little 17 or 20 grain projectile off 4 or 5 inches. So when you go out hunting or shooting with your 17 HMRs, just be in mind of the wind. Now, I've got some targets set up downrange at 50 and 100, like I mentioned before, and we're going to try 3 different kind of ammunition. One is the A17, okay? This is a 17 grain projectile traveling at 2,650 feet per second, made by CCI. Another ammunition that we're going to try is CCI's new V&T tip. That's also a 17 grain traveling at 2,650. But this is more or less made for varmint hunting, squirrel hunting, prairie dog, ground squirrel, stuff like that. And we're also going to try a 20 grain projectile made by CCI. This is their game point. Sometimes different 17 HMR rifles fire a different weight projectile, a little better or a little bit worse. So depending on what your rifle likes. So that's why we're going to try some 17 grain and 20 grain projectiles. Let me get the camera set up downrange and we'll put together some 5-shot groups. All right, the first kind of ammunition we're going to try is the CCI V&T tip. This is a 17 grain projectile traveling at 2,650 feet per second. And it does come with a 9-round magazine that fits flush. But the cool thing also, you can also get these 15-round BX magazines, these Magnum magazines that you can hold 15 rounds if you need 15 rounds of 17 HMR or 22 Magnum. All right, let's see what the V&T tips will do at 50. 5-shot group here. I'm facing the sun, so it's kind of need a sunshade on the scope. All right, first shot looked good. Kind of hard to see with the sun. Now we're going for groups here, not middle of bullseye. You can always move your scope. Was that 5? Yes, that was 5. All right, let me retrieve my target, see what this looks like. All right, there is my 5-shot group. I will show a close-up of that. My first shot went a little left. I don't know if it was me, but I was firing this rifle on a cold barrel before turning on the camera. I did not take any practice shots or anything like that. I sighted this rifle in about 3 days ago. But after the first shot, these 4 are touching. That's a pretty good group. That's definitely less than an inch group at 50 yards. Now let's try some of this A17 5-shot group. This may perform about the same. They're really close in the kind of ammunition that the A17 and the 17 HMR and the VNT are. The bullets are almost identical, but they are a little bit different. All right, let me retrieve my target downrange and see what the A17 ammunition did. All right, I retrieved my target downrange. That is pretty doggone good. That's why I love the 17 HMR. I've never had one that did not shoot really good. This rifle is no exception to that. That is a very good 5-shot group, and that was with the A17 ammo. Now let's try some of this game point. Now this is a 20 grain projectile. And so this rifle may shoot a little bit better, it may shoot a little bit worse. We don't know. The 20 grain usually does a little bit better in the wind, but in my experience with the 20 grainers, they're not as accurate as the 17 grainers out of other rifles that I've shot. And this rifle may be different. I've never shot 20 grainers out of this rifle. And you may can hear there's gunfire all the way around me. This is the first pretty day we've had in Tennessee in a long time. I think everybody and their uncle is outside shooting, but hey, it's America and it's Tennessee. It's the patron state for shooting stuff, so let her rip, Tater Chip. All right, let's see what this last group can do. Okay, it's definitely going higher. But again, if you wanted to choose to shoot the 20 grainers, all you would have to do is just move your scope. Not bad. So in a pretty good group at 50 yards. That one opened it up a little bit. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Let me grab my target. All right, I've retrieved my target downrange. This is the 50-yard group, 5-shot group with the 20 grainers. It did pretty good. Actually did real good. Now we're going to shoot it at 100 yards. But before I shoot, I'm going to try first this A17 5-shot group. I'm going ahead and making excuses. Right now it's calm, but every once in a while we will get wind gust at like 5 to 8 miles an hour, but I cannot feel it where I am because I have something blocking the wind right here. But downrange, it could gust. So I'm going to try to do my best to wait till the wind calms down. I'm going to look at stuff downrange and make sure it's not blowing and give it my best shot. So I expect this rifle to do at least 1-inch groups at 100 yards, at least 1 inch. So, because they're shooting, you know, 1/4 inch or 0.3 inch groups at 50 yards. So there's no reason why it shouldn't shoot 1-inch groups at 100. If, like I mentioned before earlier in the video, if this wind will lay down. All right, we're going to try the A17 first. And I really do need a sunshade on this rifle, on this scope. I'm staring right into the sun. Now we're going for groups here, not bullseye, because I did not re-zero this rifle in for 100 yards. We're just going to go for groups. I think I may have pulled that last shot a little bit. I really can't tell. Let me run down range at 100 yards. Let's retrieve the target, see what I did. All right, I went down there and looked at my target because it's really hard for me to see. I have 4 that are, you know, it's about a ½ inch or, you know, about 0.6 inches. MOA, a 4-shot group, but I had one way to the left. I don't know if that was me or if I don't know if a gust of wind, like I mentioned before, could have pulled that off, but that's one of the downfalls of the 17 HMRs. You get a little bit of wind, it will throw it off a couple of inches at 100 yards. So I'm gonna not shoot these 17 HMR VNTs because basically the A17s performed about the same at 50 yards, but I will shoot the 20s. I'm curious how well this will shoot 20s at 100 yards. Again, we are going for groups, not dead bullseye. Yeah, this is usually what I find with 20 grainers at longer range. You can see from the video camera down range, they're opening up and there's absolutely positively no wind right now. Yep. They're opening up. Yep. All right, so that's about a 3-inch group, 2.5, 3-inch group at 100 yards with the 20 grainers. I mentioned before, usually the 20 grainers don't perform very well out of the rifles that I have shot out to 100 yards. 50 yards, they did great. But 100 yards, they will open up a little bit. I don't know why that is. I've shot several name brand rifles in the past, several, probably a dozen with the 20 grains, and they all do the same thing at 100 yards. That's why I always usually stick with the 17 grainers. Let me retrieve the target down range, bring it up here, show you guys kind of up close, and we'll finish out the video about my final thoughts. All right, that's a long walk and I'm out of shape, but I retrieved the target down range. Just first, let's start with the A17 loads. These are the 17 grainers. I had that one shot. I don't know if that was my first shot or my last shot because it's really hard to tell at 100 yards where you impacted the target because, like I said, I'm facing directly into the sun, need a sunshade, but I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you how it is. But I don't know if that was my first or last or in between. I have no idea until I look at the footage. But 4 shots, that's a ½ inch group at 100 yards if you throw out that one flyer. Some people don't throw it out, but I don't know if it was a flyer. It may be in the wind. I don't know, who knows? But that's really good. That's 4 shots, definitely a 1/2 inch group. Now the 20 grainers, right down here, that is definitely about 1.5 inch, 2 inch group. And that is very common for the 20 grain projectiles out of the 17 HMR. I've been seeing that for years. So that's usually why I stick with the 17 grainers. But let me give you my final thoughts here on the Ruger Precision Rimfire Magnum. Like I mentioned before earlier in the video, they do make this in the 22 Magnum, and this one is the 17 HMR. You're probably asking yourself, well, which one should I get? Which one's gonna be more accurate? They're gonna both be accurate. You know, I haven't tested the 22 Mag, but knowing Ruger's history with their rifles, it's gonna be accurate. The reason why I chose to get the 17 HMR was because of the long range accuracy. Now I've shot a lot of different 22 Magnum rifles, a lot of 17 HMR rifles in the past, and I always get better groups and better results at longer ranges with the 17 HMR than I do with the 22 Magnum. However, a 22 Magnum is going to carry more kinetic energy down range. So if you're expecting to shoot something, you know, if you're going to coyote or prairie dog hunting within 100 yards, 125 yards, the 22 Magnum, it's going to be accurate enough to do that, and it's going to have a little bit more energy than the 17 HMR. However, the trade-off of that is the 17 HMR is a much lighter, much faster bullet, so it can do a lot more damage quicker, but it won't penetrate as much compared to that of the 22 Magnum. But you can get better results at 150 and 200 yards, better results anyways with the 17 HMR than that of a 22 Magnum. Ruger really thought this rifle through. I've been very pleased with my 22 long rifle, and I'm very pleased with the 17 HMR. You know, everything from the stock, you know, they have a little pick rail right here on the bottom. That way you can mount a monopod. So if you're laying prone, you can adjust your monopod if you don't have sandbags out in the field. And of course, I already mentioned that you can put a tripod on this M-LOK system. But they really, really did a good job with the trigger, with their match trigger. I don't know, or I forgot the exact name that Ruger calls it, but it's kind of like a 2-stage trigger. They did a really, really good job designing that trigger in the 17 HMR and also the other Ruger Precision Rimfire series rifles. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions on this rifle, please put them in the comments below, or go over to my Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter page and ask them there. And remember, y'all be safe and keep blinking.